my team members, Joey, Tina, and Sarah. Okay. This is our agenda for today. We're going to give a short, brief background of what we studied in the case, and then we're going to do a problem analysis of the problem we are going to take care of today. And then third, we're going to talk about the advice we gave to Microsoft, and then fourth, we'll conclude with our plan. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the business model canvas that we have drafted. So from the case, we know that the value of Microsoft would be to become a leading brand in services and devices, providing both a device and a service. And so that's the main problem we're going to center around today. Their key resources, we know they have very good R&D. They have a lot of know-how, either from acquiring different firms or from their team, their collaborative of their team. And their key activity would be to, of course, their research and development. Lots of softwares we use now today are derived from them. And their key partners, we think, have come from the computer companies they work with, the downstream partners they work with, and the mobile phone companies they give the licensing softwares to. For their channel, also come from the computer company and also the telecoms. So they license their software to those companies. The customers, individual customers, can use their software. And we think their target market is have two kinds of target market. One is the consumer target market. The other is the business target market. And of course, that depends highly on the product they provide. And we think they have a very diverse product line. So from Windows software to the operating systems to Xbox to the cloud systems, search engines, online ad, and also the recently acquired Nokia mobile devices. They also enter that. So it really depends on the product itself. For example, if it's Xbox, of course, it's for individual customers. The cost of all their operating have manufacturing costs and R&D costs. And we think the most important revenue comes from the licensing they gain from giving out their software to different devices. For their target market, the buying power is one that we have to stress. If the target so most of their target market have a high buying power, and their consumers stresses the convenience of their products. So the switching between different devices and the linkage and the synchronization between different devices and operating systems is really important to their customers. And for the vertical integration, we think they are really highly vertically integrated, from upstream funds to HR, R&D, manufacturer license to brand itself, and after-sales services they provide that as well. And channel, the recently acquired Nokia provides them a channel to sell their software. So that is really what they vertically integrated. And we think the company Microsoft has an economy of scale and an economy of scope because it requires them a lower cost to provide all those products that we have talked about. And we think their competitive advantage relies in that the Windows system, the Windows operating system, as of right now, is still the mainstream operating system used by most of the people around the world. So that remains a critical advantage for them. And also they have plenty of resources they can use within their reach. And the acquired know-how is also their competitive advantage. So today we're going to mostly focus on the balance between being a competitor and a supplier. The dilemma they face right now is because they notice the trend that PC is in decline. They're losing their grip in the market. It's being displaced by tablets. Before, they always thought that the tablet and PCs complement products to each other, but actually tablets are more and more eating up the market share of personal computers and maybe becoming a replacement. So it is really dangerous for Windows to rely solely on their computer software systems. It's really dangerous. So they have to get in on and enter the market share, enter the mobile industry, the handheld devices. But the dilemma comes from if they enter handheld devices, that would mean that their position as a supplier would to the computer companies, to the mobile companies, would switch from a supplier to a competitor, and that would pose a big threat in their licensing revenue. So that's the problem we want to address today. How can they strike a balance between being a competitor and a supplier? How can they remain their competitive advantage and among all of this?
So now the Microsoft because they are original computer operating systems producers, and because of the trend that like mobile phones and tablets, so they follow the trend and create these products. But they didn't mention that they create a weak link between the PCs and the mobile phones. They didn't found that the operating systems between these two kind of products is weak. So they keep following Apple's path. But now they have found a problem. So they want to solve this problem. They create a strong link between the PCs and the mobile phones. If we use the Win 8, we have the two interface. The first one is the original one, and the second one is just like the Windows mobile phone. We can have our pictures, our message on the computers, so we don't have to use the mobile phones when we have the computers. So now, even they have such strong link between the PCs and mobile phones, why can they success through these strategies? And we divided the reasons to the three main reasons. The first one is they have the unfriendly user interface, and this can due to the second reasons because they have created the Win 7 and the Win 8, and they have the huge gap between the two systems. When we use the Win 7, when we use the Win 8, we cannot find a lot of things on the Win 8 because we are not afford to use this. We cannot. It's not friendly. This is it's a big problems of the Microsoft. And the third reason is the Microsoft, they didn't keep the mobile users equal to the computer users because they have created such strong link between two products, but people didn't use the mobile phones, so it's just waste this all kind of strategies. So even the Apple's, the strong innovator brand Apple's, they cannot guarantee that they can equal the mobile users to the computer users. So the Microsoft, they also cannot equal the two users.
Microsoft has a link but not popular, so I just want to give the advice to the Microsoft. We want to enhance the operating system for PC, for mobile phone, for tabs, for any future devices, just like the wearable devices or any kind of devices that we cannot imagine right now. So why we want to enhance our operating system? Because we just want to make it more user friendly. Because we can minimize the gap between our version with the window. Because the customer has the tendency to avoid the switching cost. When they use the Windows 7 to switch to the Windows 8, they want to decrease the cost, decrease the switching cost. So we want to enhance the operating system to make it more user friendly. So by enhancing operating system, we can increase our bargaining power with the downstream. Where do the bargaining power come from? We just think about this because when our device is user friendly and we can we can trigger the more customer to buy our devices, and we can more users. So we can establish that the customer demand our system in devices they buy. So for example, when they buy the mobile phone and they want to use the Windows system, and they buy the PC and they want the Windows system. So when we increase the bargaining power with the downstream, and it means and we are the really strong supplier.
So about our short term and our long term plan, so first we think that in short term we need to fix and optimize our user interface and our operating system, because we know, as my team member just mentioned, we know the Windows 8 is not so user friendly, so it's not very popular. People don't like to use it, and it will not only impact our computer users, but also make people unwilling to try the device with our Windows system. We believe that, so we think that is the first thing we need to fix first. And also we think that when we fix this problem, then we need to do some marketing to communicate with our customer, to tell them that we have fixed this problem, so to convince them to try our operating system again. We expect that we can, when we try our new operating system, they will be convinced and they will be more satisfied, so they would demand our operating system actively. And in long term, we think we need to create an operating system that fits all the devices, not only in the mobile but also in some tablet or other devices. Yes, and we think that in the future, all the life circle of technology-related product will be shorter and shorter. So we think that if we can create the operating system, they could fix all the devices, then we can fix this problem too. But if we really want to achieve the goal, we think that the Microsoft, they need to keep investing in their R&D, and also they need to reform their organizations and to create an innovative organizations, so that we can see the more and more creativity in their new operating system in the future. So that is our short-term and long-term plan.
So I'm going to sum up our presentation for today. As you can see, we presented you guys with a dilemma of Microsoft of whether or not to enter as a supplier or enter as a competitor. Because if we keep being a supplier, we face a threat of being replaced by the PC industry being replaced by tablet, by handheld devices. And if we enter as a competitor, we're looking at losing licensing revenues. And so from the problem, they think is that creating a link between mobile softwares and computer softwares, creating high synchronized software between different devices is the problem to is their solution to the dilemma. But actually, we think that it's just a follow-suit strategy, following Apple, but we're not as strong as Apple. So that created the one Microsoft strategy mentioned in the case, actually created not strong enough, even if they have a very strong linkage between all the softwares in their different devices, nobody uses them. It's very unpopular. It's not as popular as Apple. And so that comes from three problems, as we have mentioned. So users will not want to switch between different versions of Windows because it's too innovative. Maybe the improvements was too innovative. From Windows 7 and Windows 8, there was too much of a difference. So that would create like a that would make users not want to buy them as much as Apple softwares. And their user interface isn't friendly. We think that's one of them because it's really hard to find the icons. It's not as straightforward as Apple. So, and even a strong brand like Apple cannot guarantee that their users, that their mobile users would also equal to their computer users. So for Windows is not so strong or relatively new kind of linkage synchronized software to in this field. How can they guarantee that their mobile app users will be the same as their computer users? So wouldn't the link they created become becomes much more of a waste? So our advice to them is to enhance their operating system and go back to being a very strong supplier. And they can supply, they can enhance their operating system for personal computers. They can enhance their operating systems for mobile phones. They can also enhance for tablets and any future devices that we cannot really imagine right now, but they need to be ready and prepared and that. So we know that that requires a lot of R&D costs that need to be invested. And that's very important because in the long run that would make them retain their competitive advantage as a strong supplier that make most of their revenue from licensing. So in conclusion, we think Microsoft should go back to being a strong supplier and enhance their operating system by doing so. Thank you for listening.
Okay, Q&A session.
Okay, I'll go first. There's an interesting point in one of your slides that you mentioned, the first one actually, where you talk about the areas of focus are the consumer and the business. Now, it's interesting you mentioned that because the consumer side is where Apple and Google have completely gone and dominated. What thoughts have you put in terms of the focus that Microsoft, which already has a lock on the business side, to expand that, because that is a cash cow. Mm-hmm. It's diminishing, yeah, I understand, but it's still a cash cow. How, what are your thoughts on how they integrate that and make that a big chunk of their earnings to increase?
From this point of view, it has a lot to do with our plan too, because we kind of want to make the consumers demand for our software to be in the devices they buy. So in terms of one of our short-term strategy was to for them to invest in marketing for the individual consumers, because we want the consumers to optimize our user interface so well that they will be the active demanding for our software.
Sorry, maybe I'm not clear.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the consumer side.
Yeah.
Consider HSBC that uses Microsoft 8 or 7 for its hardware.
Yeah.
What thoughts have you put in on how that can continue to grow? Because there's some fear that Google and Apple might actually cannibalize that too.
Oh, okay. So, because we want to optimize the user interface, and maybe we were thinking maybe that we can, when the user interface is as good as they improved on, maybe they can customize to different segments. Like we can create a customized operating system for a SUS computer only, or for a business.
Your proposed solution, both short-term and long-term, is slightly counterintuitive, because you are suggesting that perhaps Microsoft goes back to what they do best, which is focus on their operating system and be the best operating system provider. So building on that the fact that a lot of businesses already use Windows. Yeah. But the risk with that is there are other operating systems out there already, and with the increasing use of mobile and cloud computing, the operating system does not become as relevant, and those newer iOS or the Android operating system is actually already the best. So for Microsoft to actually start trying to catch up may be quite a high risk situation. So what do you suggest they could do in order to ensure they think different, so that their OS system is actually better, or something else that they could or should maybe focus on?
we focus on this because we think this is the biggest advantage of Microsoft, and we want to use this as a attacking point. And of course, Apple and lots of other operating systems are joining in on the competition. But we think in the future, because product life cycle of different devices is really hard to say. So maybe if we focus on researching and developing on that segment, on the devices that we cannot yet imagine that are present right now, maybe we can like grasp become the first mover and like get a really big market in the operating system.
You didn't mention about the internal problems that Microsoft is facing and even the integration of the Nokia to Microsoft.
Yeah.
So anything you want to address about that?
Actually, the organization, the reform comes from the long term. So we want to first take care of the problem at hand, which is we think maybe they're losing their grip in the competitive field. Their competitive advantage is sliding away. But in the long run, we do address the organization reform. We think it is critical, and because talents are coming from everywhere, and maybe they have their original positions and our position as well. So the main thing we want to enhance though is still the stacking, the stack ranking, because that it limits innovation, and we think innovation is key in the long run.